Okay, as you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day out here today in Southern California where it's always sunny and it never rains. But today it is actually raining all day. But I decided I need to get out for a ride, so I'm going to head out to the desert where hopefully it's not raining. But I'm going to be riding for a couple hours in the rain, so I wanted to give you guys a few tips on things that help me deal with the rain. So let's get started. Okay, one of the first things I should cover is just the gear that you wear. So if you can afford to have like nice gore-tex gear like this Climb Badland suit, then that's great. But you don't have to have that. You don't have to have a real fancy suit. Just have something that has a good waterproof built into the shell. Gore-Tex or many of the other membranes out there are just fine. Avoid the cheap ones. You know, Ryan F9 Fortnite, he did a great video on the different effectiveness of different layers of different membranes. So take a look at that is something I would suggest. Okay, continuing about gear. So these are some gloves I got from Rocky Mountain. These are Fly Racing. I forget what the name is, but see they have this Hipora membrane, which is okay. Sometimes on these cheaper gloves, the membrane can get torn or just kind of get worn out and then stop working. So you're just gonna have to watch for that. Gore-Tex is kind of the gold standard, but that they charge so much for their licensing that it gets expensive. Other gear, I'm wearing a pair of city boots with some sort of a waterproof membrane. Another thing I want to talk about with gear is you can see here this is my heated liner control. So what I run, and you can see the cord here on my bike, is a heated vest. I actually run the First Gear Synergy. Here's my tips with a heated vest. Number one, if you ride in the cold or the rain, you really should have one. Number two, get it a little bit fitting small so it fits kind of close to your body, and make sure that your bike can handle the power demands of that vest or whatever, or if you choose a full jacket liner. They also make pant liners, sock liners, gloves, heated gloves. I don't do that much riding in the cold, so for me, having heated grips, I have heated grips on all three of my bikes. The WR, the KLR, and the GS comes with them, of course, stock, because it's got everything. But anyway, I don't use the heated gloves, just the heated grips. But the heated vest liner makes such a huge difference. I'm wearing it under my Badlands right now. It feels like you're going down the road. It's like sitting in a jacuzzi when you turn that thing up. So I can't recommend that enough. It's a great thing to have. Okay, another thing on your gear, make sure you know which pockets in your gear are waterproof. This climb suit, I'm still figuring out exactly which pockets are waterproof and which aren't. I'm sure I could figure that out easier, but you want to know that. So don't put your phone in a pocket that's going to get wet. Make sure you don't do that, because I ruined the phone one time because of that. Okay, moving on to some other stuff. One of the big problems you're going to face when you ride in the rain is your visor fogging up on the inside and not being able to see, and then you could potentially have an accident. When I was a teenager, long story short, I didn't have the right gear, and so I wore glasses at the time before I had LASIK, and my helmet fogged up and my glasses fogged up. I couldn't see, and I went off the road in a corner. Thankfully, I was going pretty slow and I didn't get hurt. But just a note to deal with the fogging on your helmet. So this happens to be the HJC dual sport helmet, but it doesn't really matter what helmet you have. So you can use a pin. Some people put the pin lock insert in; those work really good. For me, I don't know. They're just a little finicky, and I always seem to ruin them. I don't ride in the rain all the time, so this stuff works for me. It's like fog, just anti-fog stuff. I bought this on Amazon real cheap. Just keep a bottle of this around. I keep it right here in my tank bag, so when I'm out there, if I need to pull over real quick and put on some more, I can do it. Another thing, keep a towel in your tank bag or in one of your pockets, somewhere easy to kind of dry your helmet off or dry your gear off or whatever it might be. Waterproof luggage, of course, is helpful. I mean, from my other videos, I like soft luggage. I do have the waterproof liners in these in my panniers right now, so that stuff staying dry. This is not a waterproof pouch, so I made sure to take anything out of there that I'm not worried about or that I'm worried about getting wet. This is kind of water resistant. This tank bag isn't even out yet. Rocky Mountain sent it to me to kind of test it out, but it comes with a rain cover, which I'll try out. But anyway, make sure that if you put stuff that's important inside your luggage, make sure it's waterproof, or else you can put it in a waterproof sack inside your luggage. Let's talk about windshields real quick. So this GS has an adjustable windshield, which is great, and I love it. But if you, here's the thing about windshields in the rain. Yes, the tall windshield will keep the rain off you more, but also it can be hard to see through, especially if the water doesn't beat off real good. So it's kind of a catch-22 there with a bigger windshield. So sometimes I like to be able to, like right now this is in a low position, it just cranks up and down here, but put it down low and then the wind will hit your helmet and blow the water off your helmet. That's the other thing. A big windshield is going to prevent the air from hitting your helmet and beating the water off your visor. So that's something to think about. A few things to think about when you're out in the rain on a motorcycle. One is, make sure if you have extra lights and stuff, turn those on, make sure the cars can see you. Reflective gear is great. Just make sure other drivers can see you out there, especially if it's foggy. Increase just like you would in a car, it's going to take longer to stop. Your traction is less in the rain, so make sure that you're factoring that in, how fast you go around corners, the time you give yourself to brake, and just keep a distance from vehicles around you, and watch for things on the road. Sometimes in the mountains, when it's raining, rocks fall down, you got to watch for that. Oily spots in the road that get wet are going to be slick. If your bike has ABS and traction control, then that's great. That'll help. If not, then you're going to have to watch for that, not locking up your brakes. The way you might brake in the dry, you can't do that when it's wet. You're going to be sliding around. So really just stay safe. Try it out. You'll learn from experience about it. Sometimes when you're on a trip, you just need to deal with the rain. So if you can kind of practice it, get your gear together before you have a big trip, then you'll be ready if you're out there on a big trip and you have a day around. Get it out. I'll let you know how it went. Okay, I finished my ride. Just wanted to kind of give a wrap up to this whole rain video. So it's been a while since I've done much of this. So there's a couple other things I remembered about riding in the rain. Face shield fogging is a big issue, as I said earlier, and the anti-fog stuff only seems to hold up for a while. So, you may want to consider using the pin lock or other methods of anti-fog, because it's a real problem. The other thing that I noticed is that when you have your shield down and you're riding and it gets dark, it's almost dark here. The glare from people's headlights is very blinding to you, so you kind of lose your visibility. So it's another thing to watch out for. So riding at night in the rain is really not recommended if you can avoid it. But anyway, still had a great ride. The desert was beautiful, and the bike has always performed amazingly well. So I'll see you next time.